Folks, at the time of recording, it is Saturday night, November the 19th, in the year 2022, and guess what? Rome 2 replays are still fun. That's right, after all these years, they are still fun, and thanks to our friend Sol Invictus, you all get to see another Suebi matchup. This time, actually against Tylus. That's right, last time I said that it was against Tylus, when in fact, it was the Boii they were going up against in air. It's just too far removed from Rome 2 to remember that sword followers belong to the Boii. They are similarly colored factions, so my bad, right? That happens. But remember, Tylus is the faction that's a little different from the Boii in the sense that they have a little bit of Thracian mix in to their faction. Now, their specialty in terms of like a unique unit, they're going to have two Oathsworn here. Neither one is the general, but these are extremely punishing heavy swords. They also have these very heavy melee infantry here. These are tribal warriors, which is a defensive unit. They're good on the charge. They deal heavy damage on the charge. They're not very offensive after the charge, but they come with a lot of armor and are very tough nuts to crack if you get into the wrong fight with them. So that's the difference between Tylus and the Boii. Also, obviously, you're going to have better skirmish cavalry. There's raiding horsemen and mercenary Thracian cavalry, which are pretty decent skirmish horsemen. Tylus is still going to be using Celtic slingers here. They do have one Celtic warrior and some spear warriors and levy freemen. The spear warriors are kind of on the inside flanks, and there's two levy freemen on the outside flanks. The general's in a noble horse, and the other horseman back here is a noble horse who are very tough, capable, heavy cavalry with pretty high charge. Now, let's go take a look at the Suebi army. This one is going to be Cimbri bowwomen, and there are four of them here. There is a spear levy in the middle, which is kind of the Suebi version of an MLG levy freeman. They have a club levy on either flank. There's a bloodsworn on either flank, a spear brother on either flank, and then in the middle there are wolf warriors, and they are led by the Wodenaz spears, these mighty medium spear units. I do believe they used to be light spear units. They may have had their weight class increased. The general is in a noble rider, and he's bringing the special Suebi fast charge ability, and I'll talk through that in a moment. And then Pride, which is an AP damage across the battlefield for the Suebi, and it's a limited time thing. So the skirmishing is going to start. I don't expect the skirmishing to go great for the Celtic slingers. However, if the extra numbers of javelin horsemen are used well, that could gain Tylus a pretty important advantage. Now, Germanic scout riders are not to be underestimated. They are pretty darn decent. But the raiding horsemen and the mercenary Thracian cavalry are also pretty darn decent melee, so whoever gets the better charges there could end up the victor. However, numbers to worry about here, right? Numbers play a role. Now that is a nice freebie right there to get a volley of javelins off into that noble horse. Didn't kill anything, but you darn well better believe they lost some hit points right there. So that was worth. Hashtag worth. So yeah, look at the slingers here, starting to get a little bit bungled up. And a little bit of a misplay here. There's a lot going on for Tylus to micro. They have a unit behind the Suebi lines. They're trying to move their lines up. They're trying to skirmish effectively, and a little bit of a mess up here because the Celtic slingers get put together. Now, let me explain fast charge. Why did he bring it? What does it do, right, if you use it right? Well, as the Suebi, you all actually used to see me talk about one strategy, which was the Suebi blob, and it's because fast charge has like a radius of effect. And when you pop it, the first phase of it gives your units incredible speed. And then in the second phase of it, they start to get an increase in charge speed, and they get a huge increase in charge bonus. And the Suebi already have very high charge bonuses, mostly across the board. So whoever is within a certain radius of the general is going to get very fast, followed by very fast and very deadly on the charge. And if used properly, fast charge can be a real nightmare. One of the ways you can counterplay it when you're on the other side of it is when you see it coming and you know it's possible, you can pull away and try and screen with a unit or two and pull away from that fast charge, let it fizzle, and then you come back with a counter charge of your own. Now, a very gutsy charge here with the Germanic scout riders, and I mean, it's going to pay off because the Cimbri bowwomen stay within range of this blob, and even though you're going to lose a scout rider, you're going to get some really nice damage done in here, and Tylus is just all out pushing over here, and that's at the same time fast charge has been popped. Let's see the units that it hits. It did not hit that noble rider. It hit this Wodenaz, it hit that Cimbri bowwomen, the wolf warriors. The Suebi general is just going absolutely all in. Look at this charge. Tribal warriors get brutalized by the noble rider. Now, of course, they took a beating in return. And then a nice charge by the general, and the Wodenaz used that extra speed. Oh, look at this charge here. 49 charge bonus. And they just absolutely annihilated 30 tribal warriors with the Wodenaz spears on the charge. Look at that. Brutal charge by the Wodenaz spear. So an excellent fast charge here for the Suebi. Look at this wolf warrior. They're going to get it too. That Levy Freeman's going to not like its life right now. Those wolf warriors are going to... Oh my gosh, look at the kills on that wolf warrior. Rocketing up to 70 kills. Don't underestimate fast charge, folks. Do not underestimate fast charge. It may be the last thing you do. The boy, the Tylus army is feeling the heat from that. This Oathsworn over here has got a good engagement for the moment, but they are outnumbered heavily on this flank. There's some noble horse trying to work its around, but look at this. The right flank of the Tylus army here is just falling apart. Those wolf warriors cleaned up 100 kills on that flank, and the Bloodsworn has 54 to back it up. Wow. Just collapsed the right flank of Tylus. And their stronger left flank over here, where they had some really tough infantry, is in some ways doing all right. Like right here, that Oathsworn picked up 92 kills. This one's about to rack up 90 kills. But, I mean, most of the Tylusian army kind of fizzled here up against a very tough Suebi charge. And now they've got all these units free for the Suebi. And, check this out, Tylusian general goes down to a hail of bowfire and a charge from a noble rider. That is gonna hurt when you're rocking a barbarian faction. There comes the pride ability, so now there's gonna be extra armor piercing for any Suebi unit that was within the range there. It's gonna include this wolf warrior. So we're gonna see some nice damage stats on them. A considerable portion of their damage is gonna be armor piercing. Spear Levy getting after that noble horse, not letting them go. It looks like they just managed to save their general here. That is pretty fortunate for the Suebi because they wouldn't have been able to pop that ability without it. What an interesting play on this one. I mean, that was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. Seeing that play come in. Wow. Fast charge. I mean, we just got a really good example of it right there, and a nice use of it. The Suebi, just pound for pound, if they went head-to-head with that army from Tylus, they would have been in trouble. It would have been tough because Tylus had a lot of armor, a lot of capability, and some heavy horse to back it up. That charge was very well timed by Sol Invictus. Now, it's not to say the Suebi or that the Tylus was doing like literally everything wrong. They weren't. They had a strong flank, and they brought it on their strong flank. But their other side just ending up getting collapsed, and then their general got stuck in the center. So it was an unfortunate turn of events there for Tylus. I mean, they did make some mistakes, but it's not like they were just doing everything wrong. They also got caught by a really good play on the part of Sol Invictus, and quite frankly, it's hard to counter. When you get hit by a play like that, it's tough to counter. You have to see it coming far enough in advance to make a play to stop it. That was some really excellent Suebi play by Sol Invictus. And honestly, this is a pretty solid army pick by Sarek, I think. I mean, he's got plenty of good spears to support. He's got some very tough infantry with a couple of Oathsworn. And when you think about coming up against Suebi, the reason why he didn't stack even more heavy infantry is because he knows the Suebi can bring some speed to the field. He also knows that his infantry statistically is going to be better in most situations than the Suebi. And so he probably wasn't expecting to, obviously take a hard hit with that fast charge like he did. And that was tough. It did a major slowdown there. But an interesting play. Like I said, an interesting play here. I really liked this one. And some of the MVPs here, this Wodenaz spear absolutely owned. And then this other one also owning. I mean, that is some play right there by the Wodenaz spears. These are niche units, but if you use them right, man, they're dangerous. You can't just stack them up straight into a melee charge, but if you use them right, they are very dangerous units. The Wolf Warriors here, look at this, man. Look at that, 102, 150 kills. I mean, these guys coming in and just cleaning house. What a play by the Wolf Warriors there. Well done. And I mean, again, Tylus wasn't without fangs here. Look at what that Oathsworn was up to. That's 181 kills, and it wasn't dead yet. It routed because of army losses. And then 161 kills here on this other Oathsworn. The Tribal Warriors ended up in a position they didn't want to be in. And it ended up costing them. But I mean, those Oathsworn were showing why that they are the best. And it's because they are. They were definitely getting some kills. Anyway, a really fun replay. Definitely appreciate Sol Invictus sending us these, and Sarek for playing as well. I don't know about you all, but I hope Sol Invictus sends us more in the future. This makes me want to play some multiplayer battles one night for fun, because yes, there is less variation in Rome 2 versus Warhammer 3. The factions aren't quite as asynchronous or asymmetric as they are in Warhammer 3, but that doesn't mean you can't have fun, and it doesn't mean you can't come up with creative builds. You probably just have to do a little more thinking on it, right? I think when a lot of us left this game, we kind of just had that mindset of, well, just heavy infantry wins. That has not been the case in the last 2 replays. It absolutely has not been the case. But the Suebi won. And this is all the more reason why I've said what I've said about a potential future, Rome 3, whatever it is, right? Whatever the future historical Total War is, take the lessons learned from this. They were already doing it a little bit in Rome 2, where you had a lot of differentiation in those Suebi units, right? They were lighter, but they came with a lot heavier charge and the right abilities to really capitalize on that. And then you look at like Total War Troy, and they really differentiated the infantry units very well in that game. Very light infantry had a purpose. Very heavy infantry had a purpose. They were very different purposes, and it was very fun to play. So I want to see this in future historical Total Wars continue to be expanded on, because I think there's a lot of potential. And we sure got to see a lot of it here. I really enjoyed that one. I will see you all soon with some more action in Total War Rome 2.